Hey guys, welcome to today's video. We're going to be talking about the Baltimore Ravens offense and what to expect from them next season. Before we get started though, please drop a quick like and a sub on today's video. It would really help my channel grow. I'd really appreciate that. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the video and let's dive right into it. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Ravens offense next season. But before we get started on talking about the Ravens offense next season, let's talk about their offense last year. They were led by, obviously, Lamar Jackson, both the passing yards and rushing yards category. And receiving yards wise, Marquise Brown led the team with 769 receiving yards. The real idea about this team over the past few years has been their ability to run the football and, at times their ability to throw the football, but really their lack of a true number one receiver and their lack of depth at receiver to consistently allow them to throw the football effectively. So that's kind of been the storyline with this Ravens team over the past few years. But if we look at where they ranked in the league last year, they were number 7 in points per game, team offense wise. Passing offense, they were definitely lower than that. As they ended up being, where were they? Where are the Baltimore Ravens? Come on, let's find them. They were number 32 in the league. There you go. I couldn't even find them. They were number 32 in passing, in throwing the football, worse than the Jets, worse than the Giants. But in rushing offense, they were number 1. So that's kind of the thing. They're a very run-heavy offense, one of the few very run-heavy offenses left in the NFL. I mean, it's really the Ravens, it's the Titans, it's the Browns, maybe even Minnesota too. Those are really the 4 offenses that come to mind when I think of super run-heavy offenses. But Ravens are definitely number 1. Just look at them compared to the Titans. 3,000 yards was 2690. So basically 300 more yards, rushing the football. So it's a very run-based offense, but I think it'll become a little bit more balanced next season as the Ravens added some talent at wide receiver. Now though, let's talk about Lamar Jackson, who's basically their leader. Lamar Jackson, what a guy. Just what a playmaker. Let's look at his stats here. Obviously threw for just shy of 3,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 73.7 QBR, really effective in the red zone too. He's very accurate in the red zone. Had a 64.4% completion percentage, but rushing the football, each of the last 2 years he's rushed for over 1,000 yards. So you can see the impact that he has on the ground. 7 rushing touchdowns too last year. So really an effective runner. And although he did have 5 fumbles, that is a little bit of a concern, right? I mean, if you add the touchdowns, you add the fumbles to the interceptions. He finished the season with 33 total touchdowns and 14 total, turnovers. So really good year for Lamar Jackson. But overall, I mean, what does Lamar Jackson actually bring to the table? Like, what is he? And yeah, he's a quarterback who has much more, who loves to run the football. And that ability to run the football really helps extend the offense. It really helps extend plays. It really does a lot for this offense here in Baltimore. But Lamar Jackson's such a leader. And if he's able to get a little bit more accurate throwing the football, if he's able to really square up, and he's the issue with Lamar Jackson, I made a film session video on him just a little bit ago. When he throws the football, he's very accurate inside the numbers, but outside the numbers, he's not able to get square to the wide receivers that he needs to throw to. And that's where some of the issues come from. But overall, I mean, he's got the weapons now to really be a 3,500 to throw for 3,500 yards. I think we'll see him more in the 3,300 yards range, but 30 touchdowns is definitely possible. I think we'll see under 10 interceptions once again, but they really added a lot of talent to surround him, just because of his skill set really fits running the football more than throwing the football. And talking about running the football, let's talk about the main running back here for this Ravens team. J.K. Dobbins, who rushed for just over 800 yards last year and 9 rushing touchdowns, was 3rd in the NFL in average yards per carry and 6 yards per carry. Really effective running back for this team. And remember, they did have Mark Ingram for a time last year. He's not with the team anymore. But Dobbins really showed off his speed. He showed off his physical running, but also his ability to get to the outside, bounce the ball to the outside, and pick up big yardage. They also do have Gus Edwards, remember, the running back, who was their 3rd running back last year, who's going to be their 2nd running back this year, their backup guy. And what Gus Edwards brings is he's a thumper. He's a downhill runner, a power guy, really good in short yardage situations. So they've got the smaller running back in J.K. Dobbins. They've got a much more physical, powerful running back in Gus Edwards. They've got a really nice 1-2 combo. And then remember, Lamar Jackson can do everything with his legs too, as he led this team with with rushing yards last season with over 1,000. Wide receivers wise, now, I mean, last year it was really Marquise Brown, and after Marquise Brown, there wasn't a whole lot. We did see Des Bryant, but Marquise Brown, he's a burner, stretches the field out, really effective over the top, can use his speed to create separation. 58 catches, 769 receiving yards, and 8 receiving touchdowns. The one concern with him is how well can he catch the football. Sometimes he drops some balls that he shouldn't be dropping, but overall, I mean, Brown's speed, especially at his size, 5'9", 180 pounds. Definitely a smaller receiver, but he's really able to spread the field out, really stretch out a defense. And now he's not really the number one guy anymore. I mean, I guess he still is the number one guy, but with the addition of Sammy Watkins, that's really going to help. What I love about Watkins' game is he is fast, but he's also tall. So it gives the Ravens exactly what they need. They want to continue to add speed to this offense. This offense is all about speed, especially on the outside with Lamar Jackson, with the running game with J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins is pretty fast. Obviously, Marquise Brown is really fast, but Sammy Watkins is really fast at 6'1", 211. But more importantly, he's got the size and the length to be effective in the red zone too. Last year wasn't a great year for him, 37 catches, 421 receiving yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. But in reality, this guy has the ability to be just shy of an 1,000-yard receiver. I think he's been an 1,000-yard receiver in his career before. One time back in Buffalo in 2015. But more notably, I mean, when healthy, which is a concern with him because sometimes he can't stay on the football field. But in a full 16-game season, this guy can easily put up 750 receiving yards, 8 or so receiving touchdowns. That would be a good season. But I think he can put up six receiving touchdowns, 750 receiving yards, if he's able to stay on the field and stay healthy. And I think that's literally all the Ravens need. They just need a guy that they can trust, a bigger body receiver who has the speed. That's exactly what Watkins does. But also remember, they brought in Rashod Bateman too. This offseason, who I think is going to add a lot to them offensively too. I mean, he's fast, but he's also big. And I think as a 1-2-3 receiver, they've got depth at receiver. But more importantly, they bring a little bit of everything. They bring the size, they bring some speed. Rashod Bateman was arguably the number 4 receiver in this draft class. Behind obviously that top 3. But overall, I mean, I like what Bateman's game brings. I think he's going to be good in the red zone. But he's a little bit of a bigger receiver, but he's skinny and lanky in that regard. But he also uses his speed. So this is all about a speed on offense. Obviously, Devin Duvernay is super fast, and they've got Miles Boykin too. So overall, I really like the depth of receiver they have now. Although they don't have that elite receiver, they don't have that true star talent at receiver anymore. And that was kind of the reason that they needed. That was kind of the thing that they needed going into the offseason. They brought in Sammy Watkins, who I think could be a fine number 2 receiver. They brought in Rashod Bateman, who I think has the ability to be a number 1 receiver for this team. So overall, I really like their receivers now, and I think it gives Lamar Jackson some more options throwing the football. Then, of course, they've got Mark Andrews playing tight end, and Mark Andrews has been one of the better tight ends in the NFL over the past few years. 58 catches last year, 701 receiving yards, and 7 receiving touchdowns, 12.1 average yards per reception. He was absolutely phenomenal as a tight end for this Ravens team. He was really good the year before, too, really showed up. Overall, Mark Andrews is a guy that can really catch the football, especially in the red zone, be a big safety valve for Lamar Jackson, really good after the catch. He's just an overall athletic tight end who can do a variety of things, catching the football and making plays after the catch. So I really like what Mark Andrews brings to this Ravens team too, and I love the versatility that this Ravens offense has. Remember, this is a run-based offense first, and it's an offense based off speed. So we're going to see a lot of J.K. Dobbins, we're going to see a lot of Lamar Jackson running the football. But then when we don't see them running the football, we're going to see the speed of Marquise Brown, we're going to see the speed of Sammy Watkins and Rashod Bateman to really open up plays, and then Mark Andrews, with those checkdowns, with those shorter yardage plays, using his body to create separation and to really be able to make big plays. And then, the offensive line, that's definitely been a strong suit of this Ravens team over the past few years. Obviously, since losing Marshall Yanda, they haven't been able to really refill that gap. They tried to bring in Kevin Zeitler. We'll see if that ends up and how that ends up going, but I think Kevin Zeitler can be pretty good. They won't have Matt Skura for next year. They're going to go with Bradley Bozeman as their starting center. I don't love that. Ben Cleveland at left guard, below average. That does kind of scare me, but overall, I'm not too worried because of, Ronnie Stanley being one of the better left tackles in the league. They did trade away to Orlando Brown, but they did bring in Allejandro Villanueva. He's not as good as he used to be. Don't get me wrong. He's still a good player, but he's not he's not playing at a Pro Bowl type level that he was a few seasons ago. But overall, this offensive line is still solid. It'll still be about average, I think. With the good play of Ronnie Stanley, I think Alejandro Villanueva is fine. Zeitler is a great right guard. Maybe just above average, actually. But overall, I mean, this is all about running the football for this Baltimore Ravens team and what running the football opens up for. If they're effective running the football, this passing game is going to be a lot better, especially with Lamar Jackson and his ability to use his legs to extend plays and scramble and to be effective. So overall, I think that this Ravens offense is going to improve just due to the fact that they improved their pass catchers. They improved their depth at pass catching too. That was really the concern. We all knew they could run the football. We all knew that they could be able to run the ball effectively down other teams' throats. Obviously, losing Orlando Brown hurts because they did give him up to the Kansas City Chiefs. But overall, I still think that it's gonna in the long run be a thing where this team needs to add receivers. Or is Sammy Watkins or Rashod Bateman that guy to step up? If one of those guys can step up, I think this offense instantly becomes top 7 in the league. But right now, I see this as a top 10 offense, really led by their running game and their ability to use their speed in the play action passing game to really open up defenses. So with that said, really watch out for this Ravens offense in 2021. I think that they're really going to help lead this team try and charge into the playoffs. I think it's going to be competitive for them just because that AFC North is pretty competitive with the Steelers, with the Bengals, as well as obviously with the Browns. But I think it's going to be a competitive division, but they've got an offense that can really ground and pound and that can really open up things for the passing game. And with that said, that's pretty much going to end the video for today. Did you agree with my analysis? Why or why not? Leave your comments and thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Also, if you're new around here, please drop a like and a sub on today's video. I'd really appreciate that. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. And until next time, see ya.